my name is Nico and welcome to Heuristique. I am one of the tarot readers on this channel and I'm going to be doing your daily for today. So without further ado, I just want to get started. These are general, they may or may not resonate. Yeah, interesting Scorpion. Okay, I almost want to pull one more card. I'm taking them. I know this is crazy. A bunch just flipped up and normally I would not take them. But this time there is something that is just screaming to me to take them all. So, okay, wow. What I just heard is, this is like okay, this might be for a very select few people, this reading. I'm kind of sensing that it's a little more detail oriented. So first card being Scorpion, sting. You're getting a sting to your timeline. So what does that mean and why am I picking up on timeline here? It's because of the way the cards came out. They came out in a very ordered way, but I wish I could just flip the camera down and show you. You pretty much have Scorpion crowning the reading, right? Like what's the energy surrounding everything. And then this is your timeline, and it involves a couple different people, which is really, I've never had a reading like this before. I just want to say what I'm channeling right now is so weird. So let's start first with the lizard cards. This is the first step of your timeline. This card is talking about sensory, right? Having an ability to sense stuff before it happens, picking up on the feelings of others, behaviors, you know. You might be, now what I'm hearing is you might be someone who, you know, children who face trauma in their childhood tend to grow up to be these kinds of people. Just having this innate sense of other people and how they're feeling and being able to sort of know and see through people, you know, because when children go through trauma, especially from a young age, they learn to sort of hyper-analyze their situation constantly because they're always ready for that impending threat to come in, right? It's like, because they're a child and they face this trauma, and I'm talking like, you know, like quite bigger trauma, because we experience minor forms of trauma every day. Anyway, what I was saying was, the trauma you faced, you know, in your childhood, it seems like it's given you this innate ability to sort of sense other people, see through people, know how they're gonna feel before they kind of feel it thing, right? Scaly, right? Just, you're able to slither sort of through, you know the way lizards can scurry? I'm not getting it for this time. I'm kind of getting a lizard crawling up a wall and like peering around the corner. And like, you can very much so go undetected, but you're able to detect others, if that makes sense. And because of this ability, you know, you have a hyper awareness of your surroundings at all times. And the next card on your timeline is Spider. So what I think is happening is you're starting to piece together, this is so interesting, and I know this might not be for a lot of people, but I just have to deliver the message as I'm getting it. You're piecing together your old timeline and your current timeline to see where your future timeline is headed, if that makes sense. It's like, God, how do I even explain this card? It is just the matrix, I guess, of your own life though. It's see all these different colors, all these different threads, I guess I would say. The way they're all intertwined and connected, like everything happens for a reason, right? Everything that happened in your life led you up to this very moment. You watching this video with me, like that's pretty insane. Me filming this video. So you're kind of coming into this heightened sense of consciousness, if you will. Everything right now, from the person I'm connecting with, everything is super tingly, is the best way to describe it. You know, you're very hyper aware, you're very focused, you're very overstimulated a little bit. So, you know, if this is very overwhelming for you, you know, if you are finding, it could just be the current energies, you know, that are going on in our collective. It is a very stressful time. You are a little overstimulated and you don't want to look too far into things, but you also want to not look into things. Finding a balance is what's really going to help you in this time. A balance between what you're focusing your mind on, right? Because you can't have it too much in one direction. Otherwise, yeah, we need balance, right? So because of this ability to sort of hyper sense everything around you and sort of putting together all the, it's almost like putting together a puzzle with the spider card, right? You're putting together the puzzle of your life. So that's like the next step on the timeline. And it's like, once this puzzle is completed, it's insane because we have swan cards. So for those of you who don't know, I always see this card as romantic. Like, I've never not read it as romantic, and even now when I'm holding it up, I'm like, is it not romantic? Like, I'm trying to connect, but it absolutely is. Like, it's just saying, like, romance comes in. It's like, and it's funny because it's a mirror. This card, it literally, the two swans are mirroring each other. And the way I see that is you're attracting someone who is your mirror. That whole quote where it's like, when you meet the male version of yourself, you've met your true love or whatever. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now. You're meeting or reconnecting with your mirror soul, if you will, like twin flame or whatever you want to call it. And after that happens, there's gonna be I'm just seeing a well that just bursts and starts overflowing. Fountain, if you will, whatever. It's just very, with the whale card, a lot of emotions are gonna sort of pour out of you. Now I'm seeing the whales, when they spit water out of a blowhole, a lot of stuff is gonna be coming out. And I think that's why Scorpion is crowning the reading, because it is going to cause a lot of discomfort. It's going to cause a lot of epiphanies, a lot of aha moments. And those moments are some of the hardest to navigate through, because there is this, depending on what your aha moment is, I feel like a lot of the time when we get these moments of enlightenment or epiphanies, there is this tendency to sort of self-hate in a way. And, it's that thing where, oh, why didn't I know sooner? Oh, like, why have I been betraying myself all these years, not being true to yourself and stuff like that. But honestly, like, we all go through it. We all, like, at some point don't honor our true selves. And it's just a lesson and something we can grow from. So you're really getting into this. It's just, I've never done a reading like this, like, hands in the air. Like, I've never had the cards show up like a timeline before, but I do think that, the first two stages are going to be so vital in the last two stages coming into fruition. Because how do I explain this? They almost need you to take a step back right now and sort out your mind, if that makes sense. They need you to sort out. If you're someone who gets overly stimulated easily, when you're in a relationship that has these two cards, like, that is a disaster, because you're always going to be, if you're already overly stimulated by other stuff, you're going to be overly stimulated by this person too, probably. So there needs to be, as I said before, balance, on what you focus your mind on. So right now, it's almost like they really need you to, if anything, finish tying up the loose ends of your network, your matrix, right? They need you to, I'm hearing like security, the way a spider's web is security for them. It's their home, you might need to be, really focused on the home right now. And home is so many different things, Home can be a person, a place, a thing, a feeling. Home is whatever you want it to be. And I am getting this sense of stability. There needs to be a really stable foundation for this to kind of take off and for this to come into fruition. So I think that right now, you just working on, I'm even hearing like the lizard part of your brain, the part of your brain that's been so heavily conditioned by society and, brainwashing and a bunch of other stuff. I could go on a whole rant on that. But it does feel like you are going through a complete like deconstruction and reconstruction of the mind. And it's causing you to, I'm almost just seeing like you being the center of the web and just glowing, and all of a sudden it's like, all that light just gets shot through the web, you know? When we make one change, it's the butterfly effect, right? I know the butterfly card didn't come out, but it's that whole thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but even me talking right now changes something at the other end of the galaxy. Like what I'm speaking right now has an effect at the other end of the galaxy, right? We're never really not connected. That's something people kind of have a hard time grasping with, but we're never not connected to stuff, you know? We're never not connected to Earth. Even when you don't want to be connected, you are. Your actions affect others, right? Perfect example, passenger 31, you know, since our whole society is talking about coronavirus, that one passenger potentially was responsible for 80% of the outbreak, right? One person's actions caused a lot of people to die and get sick. So it's kind of like that, but on a happier sort of scale, where it's like the choices you're making right now are having positive effects. It's like causing a rippling effect on your timeline, you know? Even the tiniest thing, like for example, waking up and deciding I want to drink tea every morning because you know it has a bunch of antioxidants, it has a bunch of really good, you know, health benefits. So even just making that switch and doing it once every morning, or having lemon water every morning, that will have an extreme, you know, butterfly effect on your timeline. And people, you're one decision away from greatness. You can argue me on that, but it's true. Like our decisions are what govern our life, you know, our actions. And you're weaving this beautiful web right now, and it's going through a deconstruction period so it can be built up even stronger so that it can support this. This wants to come in so bad, but this needs to be stable first. This needs to be, you know, you're making your spider's web out of like gold. Gold, platinum, silver, whatever, honey. Whatever you want to make your spider's web out of, you're making it out of something that's not going to break easily. Diamond, maybe. Maybe your whole web is just diamond. Because this wants to come in. This is a real long-term commitment. This is some, you know, if you've been living single for a while, or you've always been single, maybe, never really been in love, perhaps, like this is true love trying to come in. This is like someone you can grow with, someone you can just, I literally saw a flock of birds fly by as I said that. This is someone you can build with, you know, it's coming up from the depths. That's the funny thing. So I wonder if you already know this person, or like they've been in your life for a while, because I mean, even if it is someone new you're meeting, it's just a huge surge of emotions are going to surface. And I think that's what the universe is preparing you for right now. They almost want this to be so stable that if anything, you know, because these connections are so intense. And when you deal with an intense connection, if you are not ready to handle it, it can go so bad. It can go like self-destructive 0 to 100, you know? And I think that is another warning of the Scorpion card, where it's like, there is the ability for it to really sting and for it to leave permanent damage. So you need to be careful with the decisions you're making. And in particular, I am being told that the scorpion sting that you're getting, I almost feel like you're getting a sting right at the beginning and right at the end, but it is for your benefit. It isn't gonna hinder you in any way. It's like whatever the scorpion sting is that kickstarts this is almost the same thing that ends this. It's a time loop, if that makes sense. Yeah, if you know what I'm kind of talking about, you might get it. So I think I'm just gonna end the reading there. That's like the most interesting reading I've ever done, I think. And once again, just don't get overly stimulated. If anything, you know, this is the perfect time to sort of decompress our minds with the coronavirus. I feel like it's hard to not talk about since it's everywhere. You know, stay in quarantine or isolation if you have to. If not even if you have to, like stay in isolation. Passenger 31, what I was talking about earlier, is the perfect example of why you should, if you can, like, isolate. It's not because, you know, it's not for your own safety. Like, no offense, like, we don't really care if you're worried about getting sick. Like, we're worried about everyone else getting sick. And a lot of young people like myself are carriers for it. So even though we're not showing the symptoms, you can still be a carrier. And if you're a carrier and you pass that on, like, that's exactly how passenger 31 caused 80% of the outbreak, right? From ignoring, doctors told her, like, we think you should get tested, and she went to a buffet. A buffet. And that's how a lot of the outbreaks started. So yeah, our decisions are a lot more important than we think, you know? I know it's the end of the video, but I'm just gonna go on a little rant here. It's the same thing with the environment, you know, when someone's like, oh, my one action doesn't matter on like the grand scale of things. And it's like, it does. It really, really does. That one, for example, passenger 31, she probably didn't think that like by going to the buffet, she was gonna cause 80% of the corona outbreak. But her one action of negligence caused, and look what it's caused. Look what it's, butterfly effect. What was I talking about? It's the same thing, you know? A butterfly effect can have a positive outcome or a negative outcome, and it's all up to you at the end of the day. And your decisions do matter. What you think does matter. You matter. You know, I feel like people who do those kinds of actions just don't think that their actions affect other people, or I don't know what kind of thinking that is, because I'm an Aquarius, I'm very collective. So, yeah, your actions matter, and whoever's connecting with this, like, you're on the right path, you're making the right decisions, you know, you're building your empire, you're building yourself stronger and stronger and stronger, and you're gonna keep seeing the fruition of your change. So I'm gonna end it there. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you guys, you know, wash your hands, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.